This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
Good Tuesday morning, tune. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, and of course, SiriusXM channel 158. Gil Alexander. It's my little buddy Kelly Bidlin, everybody, alongside as well.
How we doing?
5 days.
That's right, man.
5 days before Super Bowl 60.
The big game.
The big game. Big game 60, I believe they call it. Large Contest 60. We will talk about that, of course, later on the show with Jeff Erickson. Mike Somich will join us as well. JVT from Radio Row down in Santa Clara, South Bay, as we call it in Bay.
Just hanging out down there.
Down the 101. Hope he's having a good time. I don't know if he's staying in the city or if he's staying down that. That's all I'm curious about.
It's funny you say that. We were talking about that off air earlier, and it's I can't wait to hear the same. I have no idea. And these are, everybody assumes you go to Media Row. We got this all the time, right? And it's what are you doing for your whole day? No, you're working. Usually you're working 12, 13 hours. So JVT just might be stuck down in Santa Clara. I don't really know.
Yeah, we'll get to all that. By the way, Somich later, Mike Somich, not only on Super Bowl 60, but also talking hockey with us as well. Anything else he's betting on? Jim Root, college hoops coming up. You see Darren Peterson last night?
Pretty good at the end.
Just a casual off-balance splash three to tie it up with Texas Tech, and then a casual three to put him ahead and win it for Kansas.
Dude, he is damn good. Damn good.
Yeah. And then Jake Hahn will join us here momentarily. Jake is going to talk hockey with us, but here's the rub on that. There's only 3 more days of the NHL until the NHL takes a break, and they go to the Olympic Games. Many of the NHL players, of course. So we'll talk hockey, but Olympic hockey primarily with Jake. But he will have NHL plays for everybody today as well. So we'll do that. Oh, and I have another, despite Mike Alvarez's objections, I will have another baseball season win total coming up on the show today.
Good.
After yesterday's. Yes.
Glad he didn't back you off.
No. Got it. We had an under yesterday on the Cleveland Guardians. I have a play coming up on today's show, and it isn't over. I will say that much. Last night, not so good in tennis, though. Lila Fernandez lost. Also had another play lost. 0-2 in tennis last night. And neither was particularly close, by the way. But I do have one other that remains here that got postponed till tonight. It was supposed to be last night. It is a dog play on Sinai Cartal, plus 178 against Belinda Bencic. Bencic not in her top form. I am taking a flyer on Cartal there based on hardcourt numbers. That is my play. I don't know if I will add some later when I do some handicapping, but as for now, that's the only one that remains. That is tonight. Sinai Cartal, who is a British player. I don't know if he pronounced it Sonay or Sonai. I don't even know at this point. But plus 178 versus Belinda Bencic. That is the play tonight in tennis. If I add it, we'll go to VSiN.com/picks for pro subscribers as we try to end that little hiccup real quick.
What number did you get?
Plus 178.
Okay. Right around the same thing. 175 at DraftKings.
Yeah. The only outdoor tournament going on right now. It's a 500 in Abu Dhabi. Okay. Basketball. We are 2 days before the trade deadline. Let's shelve Giannis for a second, because Giannis, again, there was some development yesterday where it is reporting. By the way, Shams on air. Not so great. Have you noticed this about him? If I was Woj, I'd be like, you got what you got.
Yeah. I miss Woj. I really miss Woj.
Yeah, no Woj bombs anymore. But anyway, the Bucks are making counteroffers to a quartet of teams, including the Warriors, including the Knicks, the Heat, and who was the fourth, I believe? Was the Bulls? Was the fourth?
Timberwolves? Did you say Timberwolves?
Oh, T-Wolves is in there too, right.
Yeah, I think Wolves were the fourth.
So who's not in there? Knicks or Heat is not in there?
Hold on, let me pull that up.
That's of the four. Glad I got that list correct. Sorry about that, guys. But it is 4 teams, including the Dubs and the T-Wolves.
Heat, Wolves, Warriors, Knicks.
Oh, so it is the no Bulls in there. So the Bulls thing was a blip on the Kalshi radar yesterday.
I don't know, Gil. We don't
know.
The betting odds keep indicating that the Bulls are a real thing, and you haven't really heard much beyond that.
Nope, they might not be a real thing. Okay, so that's happening with Giannis. 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 noon Pacific, the deadline on Thursday for the NBA trade deadline. Again, I have a bet in on Giannis going to the Warriors at plus 488, I believe was the number. So then there's this stuff that happened late last night where Shams Charania reported on this, that James Harden is part of a trade discussion between the Clippers and the Cavaliers. We will get to, does this have any betting implications whatsoever in a moment. But the Clippers started the season, for those who are just landing on the NBA rock. We didn't just land on the NBA rock. Clippers started 6-21. They've won 17 of 25 since then. They're 23-26. So they've gone 17 of their last 22.
Yeah, that's what
They've gone 17-5. Pardon me, 17-5 in their last 22. And so again, what kind of league is this, right? Where you've turned your season around, right? Your fan base, and there are Clippers fans, are probably like, "Oh, this is awesome. We've turned our entire season around. Not only are we playing, who knows? Maybe we'll soar into the playoffs." And then it's like, no, it turns out James Harden had missed the last two games for personal reasons. Clippers went 1-1. They got crushed yesterday. And now it looks like he may be traded. Cleveland Cavaliers, one of the big suitors, Darius Garland named in the trade. Does this, first of all, beyond the part where it's like, what do you do in NBA? Where now it's like, okay, well, psych, Clippers fans, I guess we're not going to have a season with James Harden. James Harden's 36 years old. I guess he wants to play. I guess we're assuming he wants to play for a team that is in true contention.
Yeah.
For an NBA Finals appearance, let alone an NBA Finals. Maybe the Cavs are that, coming from the weaker Eastern Conference. But does this move the needle at all for you for either team? And I'll just wedge the Cavs in there in case they happen to be the trade partner.
I mean, a little bit, but more of just a be on watch for what the Cavs do here over the next few days. They were already the team that was kind of, for most of the NBA reporters, that reportedly the team to make the biggest moves kind of here at the trade deadline, whether that's Giannis or others. And Gil, I guess I look at this as, I mean, it's interesting, right? You just laid it out like perfectly. Clippers, why would you want to back down and go away from what you've been doing? It's very odd.
Timing seems off.
There's a bunch of questions, right? Like, okay, so it's Harden not only wants to play for a contender, it sounds like more importantly he wants to re-sign. And it sounds like the big thing here is the Clippers don't have any interest in re-signing him after next season when he's in the second year of the 2-year deal he signed this past offseason. So it sounds like that's a thing. So if you're a team that wants him long term, that's who's going to be involved in this trade. I guess that could be Cleveland. Gil, I think if it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, though, this is the first of a couple moves maybe they're making, and it's to go after Giannis. That's what I'm reading into this. So from a betting standpoint, would it really change either team right now? Nah, not really. Not really. Like, that's where if it just ends up being this, I'll be a little confused. But the if the Cavs do make this deal, I would be on the watch out for a couple others coming down.
James Harden's career now has gone from OKC to Houston to Brooklyn to Philly to the Clippers, and now we'll see where else. Do we have noise happening in different places?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. Okay, so that's where that stands. So you're saying it's a longer term move. It's not, but it's not going to move your betting needle. It's not like you're going to.
No, not really. I mean, there's the other things worth asking about this, right? Is this at all related to Kawhi Leonard's future? You know, I think there's some of that going on too. After you hear about this interest last night, it's okay. Are you trying to get young? Go Darius Garland, bring him in. You move out Harden because you're thinking Kawhi's not going to be here because this aspiration stuff's about to come down in the offseason. And we need to be thinking forward and getting younger.
What I'm trying to get at is this just mainstream NBA media talk? In other words, this is a big nothing burger for us as bettors, isn't it?
It's not going to do much at all.
That's all I want. Yeah, I mean, that's how I figured it.
Again, unless it's to set up something else from
yeah. Okay, and then Super Bowl 60, just to reset. We haven't moved yet on the number, really. Still 4.5. Consensus on this? Would you say that's the case here at Kelly Bidlin as well?
Yeah.
Still 4.5. The total has
a couple fives out there.
Couple fives, but it's still consensus 4.5, which is exactly what the case was yesterday, right? There's a couple fives out there, but it's really 4.5 in favor of the Seahawks. Again, 90% of the money comes the Saturday and Sunday of Super Bowl 60. That's always been the case. That's not some revelation. That's what happens here. So any movement is likely to come. Any dramatic movement is likely to come then, one would think. I'm even showing 4.5 reduced juice at some offshores, some prominent offshores. Total is at 45. We getting any more movement on that?
That's kind of interesting because I'm looking at all 45.5s except for Circa with a 45 up.
Yeah,
so I was going to point that out. Apparently there's a couple with 45s.
Well, I'm looking at prominent offshore. Maybe I should look elsewhere, but I'm looking at prominent offshore as 45 also. So
I have a feeling we're right in that range at close. I think we saw the move on the total. I won't be surprised if we see movement on this side, I think, leading up to the game. I think the only way we'd go with the total is probably down, and I think 45 is probably where it bottoms out.
Yeah, it feels like it might. That might be the point of resistance here. If you have any conviction on the total, which I do not.
It was always a slight lean to the under for me. Nothing that's going to make a play.
Do you add any Super Bowl bets?
No, I did have those yesterday, though. Over the weekend, I did add a couple. I didn't bet any of the side yet. Said last week was just going to wait and see what this kind of moved to. Decided to jump in over the weekend. So I laid 5.5 with the Seahawks. I sold out to 5.5 at 102. And then laid 9.5 on an alt line with the Seahawks at plus 190. And Seahawks first quarter, laying a 0.5 point at plus 110. So, as we talked about yesterday, bet all three of those. Obviously, the 5.5 bigger than the others. None of them all that big, though.
I got Seahawks -4. Thought it would soar the other way, famously. And then I am going to bet Sam Darnold. I don't know why I haven't yet, because I know one shop has a better price than others here in town, so I'll go there before I do so. But Darnold's still at plus money for MVP. Feels like the exercise of, if you compared this to like a night of basketball or a night of baseball, take a baseball dog or a tennis dog, what's more likely, that the dog in an individual match or an individual baseball game hits at plus 130, or Sam Darnold getting MVP at plus 130? I would kind of argue it's Darnold at plus 130.
I think that's a good call.
So if you look at it that way, that's one way to sort of get your brain fixed on Sam Darnold. Again, maybe you think the Patriots are going to win outright. If you do, obviously you don't do that. But if you are on the Seahawks side of things, I think plus 130 is a pretty darn good price for that. Mm-hmm. You see Mike Vrabel got asked, is this a must-win situation? Is this a must-win game?
I did that.
Yeah. He handled it very nicely. He could have crushed the guy. He handled it nicely. Jay Kahn next on Hockey.
Laptop or phone, couch or sportsbook, VSiN goes where you go. Wherever you watch VSiN, the experience stays seamless. Live shows, replays, and sports-specific clips all at your fingertips. VSiN Watch puts you in the driver's seat. Available in Roku, Samsung, Amazon, iOS, Android, app stores, or get it direct from the source at VSiN.com. Download VSiN Watch today on your favorite app store and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, the legend Bob Ryan will join us to talk Celtics and also his pick on the Super Bowl in this magical run with the Patriots. Pro sports bettor Frank B., Advantage player, in studio, how he's betting the Super Bowl, and he fell asleep and missed out on $900,000. He'll tell that story, and Matt Moore to talk NBA. Follow the Money 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network, SiriusXM channel 158. Check out the website for all the betting tools and analysis.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
We're heading into big game 60. Must-win situation, one reporter wondered if it was. This is your last chance to lock in the lowest price we've ever offered on a VSiN Pro annual subscription. Right now, save $60 off the regular annual price when you sign up using promo code ANG.
ANG isn't a numbers game.
VSiN Pro gives you daily best bets, real-time DraftKings, and circa betting splits, AI-powered prop tools, plus 24/7 video and full show replays on the VSiN Watch app. You also get our Super Bowl betting guide featuring in-depth team breakdowns, Steve McAdam's Super Bowl simulation with player projections, and picks and best bets from VSiN hosts and experts. The offer expires after the big game. Don't miss it. Visit VSiN.com/subscribe. Use promo code ANG. That's VSIN.com/subscribe. Chris Foster connects us to all our guests here at the station, and he says to us here at the network, he goes, I got, we're going to Toronto for our next guest. He goes, I got Drake on the line. So we're like, we really got Drake from Toronto, but it's Jake.
Oh, man.
So
Way
sorry,
to go, Chris.
Sorry to let everybody down. Jake Hahn, who doesn't let any of us down with his hockey insights. He comes to us courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line at JHahn4, HAHN, the number 4 on his Twitter, co-host on The Point and the Fantasy Hockey Show on Sirius XM NHL, co-host of NHL Fantasy on Ice podcast on NHL Fantasy or at NHL Fantasy. Jake, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm sorry to disappoint you guys and the viewers, the listeners out there. This is not Drake, but I do know more about hockey than Drake. I can tell you that. Not that Drake doesn't know anything. I'm sure he follows hockey. He is Canadian after all. I'm sure he's got some sort of interest, and he does like to lay down a few bucks, I've heard as well. A lot more money than I gamble on games. I can tell you that. I've seen some of Drake's tickets before, so I'm sure he's bet on some hockey before, but I bring a little bit more of expertise. So for this show, I'd say I'm more suited than bringing Drake on.
I would agree with that. And I was just mentioning the NHL's got 3 more days left of hockey before everybody disperses. The Olympics get underway, the preparation for the Olympics and the Olympics themselves. Let's talk a little Winter Olympics hockey style here. No Russia, by the way, for those who are wondering, because of the invasion of Ukraine. So they've been banned. It is a tournament where Canada is the short shot. The U.S. is second behind them, the old collision course expected between those two sides. Sweden is the only other side in single digits. Oh, by the way, before we get into this, any recommendation, by the way, maybe not so much for you, Jake, as a Canadian, but the latest Miracle on Ice documentary is out. Have you seen this on Netflix?
Wow, no.
The latest on the 1980 United States hockey team, which was fantastic because there's been many documentaries about the Miracle on Ice in 1980 at Lake Placid. But this one features 15 of the players who played in that game, firsthand accounts, and has recordings of Herb Brooks, the coach, who has since passed on, but they have actual audio recordings of him talking about his hockey philosophies. So it was I would recommend it tremendously for those who have not seen such a thing on Netflix. Do you enjoy 1980 Miracle on Ice stories, by the way, from your perspective north of the border?
I actually do. I'm Canadian, so I don't have I'm not watching it and getting that cheering for my country type aspect that you guys might watching for the U.S. And I wasn't even alive when it happened as well, so I don't have the attachment to it. But it's a great story, and it's been well told before. There's the Hollywood movie, which I remember going to movie theaters to see. And then I'm more into the documentaries, right? The real life stuff you just talked about, Gil, right? The actual players that played in the game talking about it. So I'm yet to watch this. I did see it pop up on Netflix. And now that I got a little bit more time coming up, at nighttime, I don't have to watch NHL hockey, and obviously with the time zone at the Olympics, it's going to be a little bit different. So my nights might be open, and I'll have more time to watch docs like that and movies and things. So I'll certainly be checking that out over the next couple of weeks.
It's called Miracle, The Boys of 80. Again, the latest in a long line of documentaries, but this is the first one where you got 15 of the players talking about it. And again, the recordings of Herb Brooks, I recommend it highly. Obviously, in those days, it was U.S. amateurs. The Russian team was the big behemoth in international hockey. Just an impossible upset victory in the semis. U.S. goes on to win the gold in the finals against Finland. This is obviously a different day and age, 46 years later, where, again, it's supposed to be a Canada-USA clash at the end. Is this how you view it?
It's supposed to be. Personally, I would love that. I think a lot of us would love to see Canada-USA in the final just for the drama and the quality between the two teams. And obviously what we saw last year at Four Nations. Now Olympics is much bigger than Four Nations. Four Nations was a success last year. Everybody enjoyed it. Canada and US did meet in the final. It went to overtime, and the best player in the world, Connor McDavid, scores the winner. So you really couldn't have scripted it much better. And then in the earlier rounds, you had Canada and US play, and you had all the fights on the ice. So there's some bad blood between these two teams. I think the players got a little taste of it last year, and they would love a matchup against each other. And realistically, guys, that's the one time they probably could play each other. The way that this tournament sets up, the US should walk right into a quarterfinal. They have a very, very easy round robin group. Canada's is a little more difficult than the US is. They're going to have to play Czechia and Switzerland in the early rounds. Games they should handle, but they have a little bit of a tougher test than the US. Either way, I think Canada and the US should cruise through to comfortable quarterfinal matchups. And really, the only chance they're going to have to play each other is in a gold medal game or possibly in a semifinal. There is a route where that could happen. So if they're going to collide, it's going to come in a very big game. I think everybody would love to see it, but I don't think it's as easy as that, Gil. I do think, this is a lot different than Four Nations. There's more teams here, and there's more quality here in some of the other teams. So I don't think it's as easy as Canada and US are just going to walk to a gold medal game.
All right, so let's talk about a couple of these categories. One, there is the gold medal winning market, of course. There's also a to win a medal category. Do you have thoughts on either of those?
I do. So I look at the odds you have up for the gold medal winner. And okay, Canada's plus 120 on your board there. And I get it. They should be the favorite. They are the best team on paper, but they've got goalie issues. I just don't think they should be priced at plus 120. And I think if you really want to back Canada, you wait. And there's going to be a point in the tournament, whether it's in the semis, heck, maybe even in the gold medal game if they get there, where you might be able to bet them live at an even better number than that. So I don't think the plus 120 is worth backing for Canada. If you are going to play the top of the board, I think the US number makes a lot more sense just because of the easy group they have, and they're going to get a very comfortable quarterfinal matchup. So there's more value in that. If you are looking for a team that could realistically win gold and get a decent number on, it would be Team Finland for me. I don't think the gap between them and Sweden should be as large as it is. And Finland always seems to play well at these tournaments. And I think, and they get Sweden in their group. I think that's going to be a very close game. I could see either of them winning that group. I think Finland should be priced a lot closer to Sweden. And to win a medal, I guess you could call it a long shot, Gil, or just a team to keep an eye on here, is actually the German team. Now, that might surprise a lot of people, but the Germans have some high-end talent that they're bringing to this tournament. Leon Draisaitl, Timmy Stützle, JJ Peterka, Mo Seider on the back end, and they're bringing a goaltender in Philip Grubauer, who's been one of the better goalies in the NHL this year. So they're going to have to play these guys basically half the game because they have no depth at all on this roster. So they could be getting a call from some NHL GM saying, hey, you're playing my guy 35, 40 minutes in this game. Can you give him a little bit of rest? But if the Germans want to play that card, they have the horses to compete with some of the top teams. They're just going to have to really overplay their guys.
Interesting. Good breakdown on both, by the way. Good breakdown on the structure of the tournament, too. Whether it's Paul Carr in soccer or Jake Hahn in hockey and international tournament, our guests always go Germany.
We're always on the Germans.
Yeah.
Jake, I think that's a good point, though. I know you're speaking kind of tongue-in-cheek about the German team, but how much does ice time change when we get to these international tournaments? Because I'm sure, especially beyond Canada and USA, these rosters just aren't that deep.
It's a great question, Kelly. And I think when you're looking at Canada and USA, they built their rosters to be deep, and they can roll four lines and they can kind of spread things out if they want to. Now, if let's say Canada gets down a goal or two in a game and they get desperate in the third period, you're going to see Nathan McKinnon, Connor McDavid, Macklin Celebrini, Sidney Crosby probably double shifted, and they're going to lean into their big players. But, they get up 4-5 in an early round game against the team they should beat. You're going to see the fourth line play a little bit more. They're going to manage those minutes, but it's different for some of these other countries. Germany, they're going to ride Leon Draisaitl. I'd be shocked if he's not playing, 25 minutes at least in these games, probably more. Now, that might be much to the chagrin of the Edmonton Oilers, and they're going, hey, could you, we need this guy for the playoffs. We need him healthy. But once these guys get over to the tournament, you try telling Leon Draisaitl he needs to manage those minutes. So something to watch for. And I think you're going to see teams like Switzerland, Czechia as well, very top-heavy team with guys like Pasternak and Natchez and some of these guys. Those are the teams that are really going to ride their top players.
Okay, so speaking of that, how about leading goal scorer then in men's ice hockey at the Olympics?
I think this is where you could take some long shots, guys. Now, obviously, you're kind of gravitate a little bit more towards Canada and US in this market. If we expect them to be the teams most likely to go on a run, you could take a shot on a Finn or a Swede if you want. Macklin Celebrini is a name that jumps to mind right away. The young Canadian player. he's going to get a chance in this tournament to go well-earned. He's in the MVP conversation in the NHL right now. I think Canada's going to put him with a Sidney Crosby or a Connor McDavid. They're going to use him in a scoring role, and he's clearly shown finishing ability in the NHL. So I think you could go further down the board to a Macklin Celebrini. And on the U.S. side, I've got 2 long shots in this market. Kyle Connor and Tage Thompson are 2 to look at from the U.S. side. If you're looking for just a dart throw, I think this is the market to do it. It's a very short tournament. Someone could just have a big game. They could score, 3 goals, maybe 4 goals even in a round robin game against a bad team and really, bump. So this is a market where I wouldn't necessarily play the top of the board.
All right, men's preliminary round begins on February 11th. Women actually begin before that. We'll get a thought from Jake on that on the other side, if he has a thought. I think that might be more straightforward on the women's side. We shall see. And his NHL plays, and maybe even a little golf thought here or there. Jake Hahn joins us from Toronto, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Jay Hahn 4 is again where you can find him on Twitter. Coming back on a numbers game right here at VSiN.
Time. There's nothing more valuable. It's what drives everyone to make the most of every moment. We celebrate living large in the now. In a city where time disappears, we create experiences that electrify the soul and memories that will last forever. We go big, we go all night, and here, everyone is invited. So get loose and get loud.
This is Circa. You'll have the time of your life.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to vsin.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
It is Super Bowl week. Pardon me. On Profit X. From same-game parlays and player props to Super Bowl props and more, Profit X has you covered, including 0% commission on the coin toss. Get your bankroll ready for Super Bowl props, college basketball, and all the action this weekend with competitive pricing across the board. Don't forget to take advantage of Profit X's 20% purchase match before the big game. Download Profit X now and experience the future of winning. Use promo code VSiN to get started. We get to 8 speed of the book. Always appreciate y'all. Mariners Geek, who came by and introduced himself a couple weeks back. Hello, Mariners Geek. He says, gents, unique situation for local Seattle sportsbook. So much action on Seattle futures and Seattle on the Super Bowl that they moved the line to 6 and plus 205 begging for Pats bettors.
Checks out.
It's interesting. Looking at that, looking at what he's got right there at their PPH there. Bobby Geddes. Morning, fellas. Question for you. I know you've both bet against your fanhood teams in the past. Money is money. But is there a point where you won't pull the trigger? As a fan of Team DVOA 81, 81st out of 96, according to DVOA, these Patriots in the Super Bowl since 78, I'm refusing to do basically any pro Seahawks bets. You've discussed this in the past, but thought it was a good time to bring it up. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't blame you. If you love your team that much, I can see you not betting against them. But generally speaking, money is money, and I'll bet against the Skins. For all those Daniel Snyder years, all I did was bet against the Skins. I still bet against them if the value is there. But I can see how in a Super Bowl you wouldn't do it. Yeah, I think that's human. You still have some of your fan of it. Yeah. James Fraction.
I guess I was wondering if he was asking something bigger there, but I guess that's just it.
I think that's just it.
Yeah, I think that's for a Super Bowl. I completely understand.
I completely get it. James Frank, because you'll always have that memory, right, of your conflict in your brain when you look back at that Super Bowl. James Fraction, our buddy James Fraction from, I believe, Annapolis, Maryland, if I'm not mistaken. He says, hey, Gil, the James Harden news is the most nothing burger news I've heard in a while. He's a 0 in the playoffs, and any legit NBA contender should be running away from adding him to their team. That's why I bring up stuff on the show and I move along. I think you have the obligation to bring it up, and then, to me, it's not much from a betting standpoint. Brandon Webb. Does the team you have the over on start with a T and end with an Exis Rangers? He asks. I don't know. We'll find out.
Oh, man.
T. Sheldall. If it's a must-win situation, these teams must not be very good. That's right. That's T. Sheldall taking that ridiculous question from a reporter. And
apparently that's a running bit. That guy shows up at the Super Bowl every year. And
and he asked that question?
Yeah.
Vrabel couldn't have handled it more graciously.
He really could not have.
He was so nice about it. He was like, well, sir, sure. T. Sheldall, though, bring in the Dr. Bob statement about it. Must not be two very good teams if they're both in must-win situations. Richard Burkhart, first baseball futures, now Jake, not Drake. Gil's just playing with Mike Alvarez's emotions today. That's right. Russ Harden, Gil, great call on the Boys of 80s documentary. I was a senior in high school, and the USA-Russia game is one of those moments where you'll always remember where you were when it happened. Can I tell you what happened in Washington, D.C.? We had a local, this is 1980. This is the dark ages. It's medieval times. We only had local television stations. There was no cable in Washington, D.C. And these games they weren't live. You had to wait for Olympic coverage at night. We did not know the result of the USA-Russia game until Rene Poussaint, local ABC anchor for the local ABC affiliate, goes on and says, coming up, the USA beats Russia in hockey, spoiled for an entire city.
Oh, that's great.
Shooter McGamlin, I was watching that new Miracle doc with my wife after they beat the Soviets. I was telling my wife I'd have been betting on Finland. That was the mother of all letdown spots. Would have been wrong, of course. Well, the truth is they were down after 2 periods. Had to score 3 unanswered, or did score 3 unanswered in the third period to win it.
Which is an insane follow-up part of that story.
Yes.
Had to score 3 unanswered in the third period. That's what it was.
I did not remember that detail. They were down 2-1 after 2.
I remember them being down, yeah.
And then they won it 4-2. Yeah. And on. Gamar, I believe Drew's headed to Italy and would love to know what wine he's looking forward to trying from that area. My wife and I love the Alto Adige wines, but always looking to branch out. Also sports.
Sports.
Drew, by the way, is heading to Italy, but apparently he's in the Bay for the Super Bowl first.
He's in the Bay for some reason.
For something.
I think Super Bowl.
Jake Hahn.
Maybe surfing.
Maybe. We don't know. joins us once again, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Jake, I know it's first, before we move to the NHL, because I know you have plays today as well. Women's hockey, straightforward. U.S. going to win that thing?
Yes, I do think the U.S. is going to win that thing. Hopefully I don't get my citizenship revoked for that. Now, obviously, look, this one is as straightforward. You talked about on the men's side, is it going to be Canada-U.S. in the final? And I said, it's not going to be that easy. It would be nice to see, but Sweden could throw a wrench into that. Finland, heck, maybe even Czechia or even a further dark horse. There's no team that's going to throw a wrench into a Canada-U.S. final on the women's side. We basically get that every time these two play, and the U.S. has dominated this matchup. These two play actually a lot, and we get a sample size in between Olympics. They find ways to play each other, and the U.S. has just completely dominated them. They've got a very, very good team right now. I would actually argue it's a short line. I think this is something, if you wanted to maybe find some other medal favorites that you like around the Olympics, you throw the U.S. women into some parlays. I think it's a great piece to use with maybe some other bets across the Olympics. The U.S. women are going to win gold here.
Women's preliminary round starts the day after tomorrow, February 5th. Men again, February 11th. All right, last 3 days of the NHL. What do you have today? Not a huge slate of hockey.
Not a huge slate, and like you said, we're getting down to it. We had 10 games last night, 7 tonight, 10 on Wednesday, and then I believe it's 7 on Thursday as well. But a lot of desperate teams here, Gil. I know we could say, maybe some teams have one foot on the beach, right? The guys that are going to get the break in February, and then obviously there's the guys that are playing the Olympics or maybe looking ahead to that a little bit. But I'm going to have a bit of a Metro theme to my card here. I like the New York Islanders on home ice against the Pittsburgh Penguins. Both teams played last night, but Pittsburgh's saving Ilya Sorokin for this, the Islanders are saving Ilya Sorokin for this game. So I like them on Long Island. Now, Pittsburgh has been playing some really good hockey of late, but I like the Islanders at this price. I'm going to go to the Columbus Blue Jackets, another Metro team here on the road. We actually had Rick Bowness, the head coach, on our show yesterday, and he's in some great spirits. He's really got this team turned around since he took over behind the bench, and it feels like there's a good vibe around this Jackets team. The complete opposite for the New Jersey Devils right now. Bad vibes. I'm not sure if Jack Hughes is going to play in this game. If he doesn't, I certainly like the Jackets. If he does make a surprise return to this game, I still like the Jackets. So I'm comfortable playing it even without knowing if we're going to get Jack Hughes in this one. And I like the Carolina Hurricanes as well on home ice against the Ottawa Senators. Ottawa's second half of a back-to-back here. They played in Pittsburgh last night. I'll take Carolina in regulation. Maybe you want to look towards the puck line to get some plus money as well. I think this is just a tough spot for Ottawa, and I'm assuming we're going to see the backup goaltender tonight.
Short slate, Jake still firing. I like it. You got some prop bets as well?
I do have a few props I want to look at. I think, to me, I go right to the Anaheim Ducks Seattle Kraken game. That's where I'm going to be looking for most of my props today. Beckett, Seneca, Cutter, Gauthier, those guys in the point market. Mason McTavish in the shots on goal market as well for the Anaheim Ducks. So, look, this is a team that started to turn around. They started the season hot. They kind of dipped down. Now we're seeing them rise up again, maybe even make a push at that top spot in the Pacific Division. They're still a little banged up, but those guys are healthy, and I like them a lot in the prop market against the Seattle team that's been, kind of pesky. And another money line I do like here, Gil, that I forgot to mention, the Washington Capitals. This is a fascinating game. I have no idea who's playing goalie for the Washington Capitals right now. I don't think anybody does. I don't think they even know who's playing goalie tonight, and they played last night. But I'm going to take a stab here. I'm going to say this team rallies around whoever is in net, and there's a chance we could just see Logan Thompson, who is their number one guy. He might be healthy enough to play this game, and he is one of the Canadian goaltenders at the Olympics. So I think he would like to get a game in before the Olympic break, realistically. So there's a chance he could just play this game. If not, maybe Washington rallies around some random guy they call up from the American Hockey League. So I'm going to go with the Capitals, which I think is a good price against the Flyers team that is really, really struggling of late.
I like it. Okay. Before you get out of here, for those who don't know, Jake is not only a one-trick pony with hockey. He also bets some tennis. He bets some golf. I'm doing the Megapod tomorrow, the last football Megapod of the year, the Super Bowl one with Will Hill and Todd Wishnev, of course, but also Rufus Peabody. Rufus had to rearrange his flight to the Waste Management Open to make the podcast tomorrow, so he's headed down there. It's the one hockey. It's the one.
Changed his flight for you?
Changed his flight. It's one. Well, I don't know if he changed it, but he was supposed to make it in the. I don't know. I don't know if he changed it or not, but he certainly altered it. But he said that, or not he said, but this is the one golf tournament that is raucous. You're allowed to emote. People are going nuts. You have a play on this beforehand?
I do have a couple plays already, and I will have a full card by the time they tee off on Thursday. But the ones I jumped on early, I took Sepp Straka around 80-1 was the number that I saw pop up. I grabbed an 80-1 on Sepp Straka and a 70-1 on Nick Taylor, my fellow Canadian who won this tournament a couple of years ago. And I was on him when he won. He was actually first round leader that year as well. I had a big week on Nick Taylor. So I told Kelly in one of the breaks, I do tend to gravitate towards guys that have done well for me at certain tournaments in the past. Brooks Koepka is another one I've hit here. I don't love the Brooks number right now. It's not one that I can get behind as much as I did want to back him this week. So Nick Taylor, Sepp Straka for me. I'm hovering around Jake Knapp as well, who's striking the ball really well at the moment. I think the course sets up really well for him. And if you want a big long shot, Gil, I'm going to be on my guy Aldrich Potgieter. Maybe each way it, get a top 5, a top 10 in there as well. The big South African, I think he could go well at this in Scottsdale this week.
I like it. I got a top 20 on Knapp. Well, actually, I haven't bet it yet, but I'm going to bet Knapp.
I like 20. That. He's playing real well right now.
He altered his plan. He didn't change a locked-in flight. Let's be clear about that. Thank you, Jake. Appreciate it as always. We'll talk.
Great chat with you guys.
You too.
Have a fun Super Bowl week. Take care.
Thank you. You too. Jake Hahn, everybody. Jim Root, College Hoops next.
This Sunday, Big Game 60 takes over, and VSiN's got every angle covered. Start with VSiN's Pro Football Tailgate Show at 9 a.m. Eastern. Then roll into a numbers game, prop points, and money moves leading up to kickoff. At 6 p.m., it's Big Game Betting live from Vegas, tracking props and delivering sharp live betting insight as the game unfolds. Then at 10, we're cashing out, grading bets, and breaking down the big game. Check out VSiN.com for all the action and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Join the guru, John Hansen, at the intersection of prop betting and fantasy sports on Prop Points, only on VSiN.
You know what? I'm going to blame Andy Reid for cronyism because Matt Nagy stinks. A guy like Jefferson, you got to be a part of the solution, not part of the problem, and he's been part of the problem.
John and his guests will help you find the connection between the two and give you his expert advice on how to capitalize when a number is too good to pass up. Prop Points, weekdays at 1 p.m. Eastern on VSiN.
VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Back in the numbers game, live from Circa Resort Casino, downtown Las Vegas. Did Ron Burgundy threw some tweets?
Sure.
Who knows
What could go wrong?
Who knows what's in store? Primetime Leon Sanders. Yo, hey man. Love the Miracle Doc. Not quite as much as I love hearing you reminiscing about the Snyder golden years of WTF. He means WFT. He's just messing with me. Truth be told, I'm rooting for D-Law to win Super Bowl with Seattle this year and McCarthy to win one with Pitt before Jared does. Spite is great. He says, hashtag spite is great. There you go. All right. A little perspective from inside the NFC East. StatLogic Sports. 1980 tape-delayed game versus the Soviets. WMAL Radio and the DMV had game updates every 10 minutes. Being a 10-year-old hockey player, of course, I listened. Got to my teammate's house to watch the game that night and had to bite my tongue all night. They had no idea. Renee Poussant. She gave it away to everybody. I'll never forget her for that.
How do they do that? Like, you got to know how people are taking the game in, and they haven't even taken it in yet.
Well, 1980 local news anchor.
Did you remember? Do you remember that name? Did you have to double check it?
Oh no, I remember that name. Just for that reason alone.
That's great.
But what StatLogic is talking about is a radio station that apparently did one of the flagship stations in D.C. that gave 10-minute updates on it. I did not know that at the time. The Mel Insiders. What are your thoughts on books cutting you off after winning? Hard Rock sent me an email yesterday stating they will limit me to $10 after some wins, basically saying don't bet here anymore. Well, the Mel Insiders. This is something we talk about from time to time. Usually I do with when Crack is here. This is a part of legalization that some anticipated, some didn't. Back when PASPA ruled laws at that time to be unconstitutional, or when PASPA was ruled unconstitutional, I should say, by the Supreme Court. And so legalization was opened to a state-by-state situation. And, you could anticipate some things. Perhaps, some who knew the European model could have told us this was coming, that legalized sports books, they don't like you winning. And a lot of them are super vigilant about it. And by the way, a lot of them are just bad at profiling too. So you could get lucky one week, right? You could get lucky and they will profile you as a winning bettor, and they will be leaving money on their table stupidly because they're just blanketing stuff. Mm-hmm. It's awful. Bottom line is it shouldn't be, right? Yeah. It should be a playing field where a winning bettor can sustain their accounts and has a legit shot at winning. But if you're doing that kind of thing, if books are doing that kind of thing, obviously they're gaming the game in their favor, and it's not something that any of us as bettors like to ever witness. That's my feeling on it. Okay, college hoops, ladies and gentlemen, usually comes to us from his spot, his normal spot. But Jim Root apparently is dog sitting one of his friend's dogs. He is still courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. You can follow him on Twitter at Second Chance Points. That's with the number 2. 3MW_CBB for all of Three Man Weave's picks. He is 1/3 of that crew, along with Madden, Kai. It's Jim Root, everybody. Dog sitting. Now, Jim, first of all, thanks for joining us while you're dog sitting. What kind of dog are you dog sitting, and what does this entail? What is the job?
I got 2 bulldogs, pair of bulldogs here. It's not an overly stressful situation. Not a lot of dog walking involved. Just let them out, take care of their business. But yeah, we'll see how I do on the show here. We talk about teams, how they are away from home, road neutral splits. We'll see if I perform in a road neutral site game for me here, Gil. I'm going to see what I can bring. Yeah,
see if he gets a quad 1 win here with this. All right, let me ask you about last night real quick. Darren Peterson, I just mentioned this earlier. A casual, off-balance splash 3 to tie it against Texas Tech. Kansas looked like they were dead there for a bit. They come back slowly, then the 3 to tie it from Peterson, the 3 to win it. Best player in the country, number 1 pick in the draft. You're pretty sure about that now?
Yeah, I think he's the number 1 pick in the draft. I'll still go with Cam Boozer as the best player. I trust the consistency more. I looked tonight. He hasn't scored less than 17 points in a game since November 18th in a game that he sat because Duke was up by 40. He's just so consistent with his offensive tool set every single night. And Peterson, you're getting a lot of ups and downs, but I think the best version of Peterson is probably the best player. And yeah, that's why I think he should go number 1. The pro upside is completely insane for him. It's so easy for him offensively.
So easy. I think that's a pretty solid response to that, pretty measured response on him and Boozer. So if someone's landing on college basketball right now, and I think there's a good group of American sports fans they've been immersed in football, now they're showing up to college basketball here on the run up to the conference tournaments and the big dance. And I would say, okay, there's 2 big headlines in college basketball. Well, one is, we just alluded to, right? There's so many great freshmen. Like, I don't ever remember a season like this. So we've talked about that before. The other one, and I sort of brought this up yesterday, is I'm not sure. I don't think I'm being prisoner of the moment. You'll tell me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure I remember this many really good teams at this point in the season. And again, Arizona, Michigan, Duke, Iowa State, Houston, Gonzaga, Florida, Vandy, Virginia, Nebraska, BYU, Michigan State, Illinois, Purdue, UConn, Kansas, Texas Tech. I mean, it just goes on and on. I feel like it's a different year in that respect. Do you?
Yeah, I do. And I always be plugging. I've got an article coming on The Athletic about the freshman class. So it should come out tomorrow, I think, Wednesday, midweek. So about the depth of it. So worth reading that, because I agree with you, Gil. This freshman class is unbelievable, both in star talent and in depth. And then, yeah, the top teams, the biggest thing to me is that they don't lose to anyone except each other.
Right.
Like, your top teams are not, like, you don't see Arizona dropping one on the road to a bad team in the Big 12. I think Iowa State lost to Cincinnati, and it's like one of the only ones I can come up with where one of the top 10 to 15 teams just had a dud against a team that's not really on their echelon. And there was a stat, I think, a week ago about the top 10 in the AP poll had 13 total losses. And at that point in the season, that was by far the lowest in the last decade. I think the next lowest was like 24. It's just a really kind of extreme group of top-end teams that gives us a lot of high quality up there with the games. And I would also mention, for people joining now, all these conferences have a really backloaded schedule. Like Big 12, Big 10, both have a ton of games coming between the top teams yet still to go. You've got both Duke UNC games in the ACC. You've got both UConn St. John's games still to go in the Big East. The last month of the season is loaded with huge games among all these top teams. And I think it's going to be great to just see them from a viewer perspective, and the quality of basketball should be outstanding.
Including undefeated Arizona, right, which still has a gauntlet of games to play before they get to the end of the road regular season. So we'll see how that goes for them. As for tonight, let's talk about some teams that are not involved at the top tier of college basketball. South Carolina and Texas. At Texas, where the Longhorns are 13.5-point favorites. Which way are you going on this?
Yeah, I'm going to take the dog. This isn't a great Tuesday night slate, not the big headliner matchups that we'd love to see, but I will take the dog here with South Carolina on the road, getting 13.5. Now, Texas, I like Texas a lot as a road dog, going to a good SEC team, going to battle. They can play up with their talent level. They've got some really good athleticism. Dalen Swain is a future pro. But I'm not going to lay double digits with that team. And South Carolina, yes, they got shellacked last week against Florida. I think people probably saw that score. They lost by 47, one of the biggest margins in SEC conference play history. But they play slower. They're a team that is a little uncomfortable for some of these other SEC teams to play, just because they force you into the half court. That helps a dog right there. And it's just not a team that gets your full A+ 100% attention in the SEC, because they are consistently towards the bottom of the standings, both last year and this year. I think it sets up well for a feisty underdog there to compete with a Texas team that's been inconsistent and is much better against better competition. So I'll take the 13.5.
Let's go. Assistant Athletic Director Wes Millette. Let's make it happen for South Carolina. Cover those numbers. He might not have anything to do with it. All right. UIC, Illinois, Chicago, Murray State. Total set at 158.5. We're showing 159 here. You're saying not high enough.
Yep, not high enough. I think you could probably not go wrong taking the dog here too. UIC, they've been on a tear since they got Elijah Crawford back, a guard transfer from BYU. He's had 20+ in 2 of the last 3 games, a real difference maker for them. They started 0-4 in the conference, and now they're up at 8-4. And the other end of the spectrum, Murray State is really struggling. They were undefeated atop the league with a 2-game lead as recently as 2 weeks ago, and now they can't beat anybody. And the biggest problem is their defense. They play up and down, they get in track meets, but they don't guard anybody. They run you off the 3-point line, and then they think their job is done. They give a ton of layups. So I think this game is up tempo, a lot of points. I will take the over 159 with Crawford back in there as another scorer for UIC.
And then NC State and SMU, you're going with the Wolfpack here, laying the 2.5?
Yep, taking the road team here. This could be a tricky spot for them. Monday or a Tuesday night game. It's SMU's a favorite on KenPom, so the line's definitely flipped from that. But I just think NC State is better. And under Andy Enfield, SMU has consistently struggled to beat top 50 teams. They've got one this year against UNC, and that was their first quad 1 win in 3 seasons. I don't think they get another one here against NC State. I like the shooting of the Wolfpack, the pick and roll combination they've got of Quadir Copeland and Darion Williams, and mixing in some pick and pop there. It's been really tough for teams to guard. I just think NC State continues trending up. They've been playing great lately under Will Wade, and I think they pick up a road win there at SMU.
Real quick before you go, Jim, Miami of Ohio, the only other undefeated in the country besides Arizona, is in action tonight at Buffalo. You think they remain undefeated?
I think they go down tonight. It's